Most of us have probably encountered a time when we weren't tall enough to reach something, or when something was too heavy to lift. Today, we're going to meet a man so tall, he was able to substitute for medical equipment. A man so large, he lifted over a ton with his bare hands, and a man whose overall structure made him an international superstar. Hold on tight, subscribe to the channel, and let's take a closer look at the 10 largest humans to ever exist. Number 10. Shishun. Shishun Bao of Chaifeng, Inner Mongolia is a Chinese herdsman and one of the world's tallest living men. He was born in 1951 and he was a relatively normal height until he turned 16. And that's when everything changed. When he was 16, Shishun Bao found himself experiencing a growth spurt, something pretty common for someone his age. But the strange thing was that it never stopped. By the time he was an adult, Shishun Bao had reached a height of 7 feet 9 inches. While Shishun Bao had to walk with a cane for most of his life, he was definitely a man of honor and bravery whenever his services were called upon. As a young adult, he served in the People's Liberation Army of China for 3 years, and in 2006 was called to a slightly different kind of service. In 2006, a number of dolphins were discovered with jagged pieces of hard plastic lodged in their throat. With no medical tools available that could reach the blockage, all hope seemed lost for the majestic aquatic creatures until Shishun Bao was called in. His incredible height meant that he was capable of reaching down into the dolphin's throat in order to remove the blockages. Since then, Shishun Bao has returned to his hometown in Inner Mongolia, where he's worked in hospitals. He also married his wife in 2007 in a traditional Mongolian wedding, and the two of them have a child together. Whether their baby will inherit its father's incredible height remains to be seen. And if you thought Shishun was tall, wait until you see our number 1 entry. Someone so tall, they shattered cultural stereotypes and upset the world of professional basketball. Number 9. Vano Mylerine. Vano Mylerine was born in Helsinki, Finland in 1909. From an early age, he was noticeably larger than his peers, and by the time he was 21, Vano was a shocking 7 feet 4 inches tall, significantly taller than most people. But incredibly, he wasn't done growing. In his early 20s, Vano experienced another significant growth spurt, bringing his total height to 8 feet 3 inches. What's more, his hands were an astounding 13.4 inches, the largest known to this day. Throughout the 1930s, he toured Europe as a professional wrestler before quitting to join the Finland Defense Forces, where he gained notoriety for being the world's tallest soldier. Unfortunately, Vano was also afflicted by acromegaly, a disorder that occurs as a result of excess growth hormone and causes symptoms like joint pain, thicker skin, deepening of the voice, headaches, and problems with vision, some of which are debilitating. Before we go on, like this video, pop the subscribe button, and ring the notification bell right now, or the ghost in your closet will manifest itself tonight. Number 8. Edward Beaupre. Edward Beaupre was born in Saskatchewan, Canada in 1881. As a child, he had dreams of being a cowboy, but unfortunately, home on the range wasn't in store for him. Instead, as he began growing, it seemed that he might never stop. And he wasn't just tall, he was exceptionally strong. By the age of 17, the full extent of his might was realized when he lifted up an 800-pound horse on his own. At the age of 21, he was 8 feet 3 inches tall, and he joined the Barnum and Bailey Circus as a giant and strong man. While for quite some time he achieved relative fame for his size and strength, his sideshow stunts also led to a number of serious injuries. At one time, he was lifting a 900-pound weight when his leg broke beneath him. Another time, he was kicked in the face by a horse, an incident that left him permanently disfigured. He also suffered from tuberculosis. On July 3, 1904, he was performing at the Louisiana World's Fair when he collapsed and died as a result of a pulmonary hemorrhage. Tragically, he was just 23 years old at the time. Number 7. John F. Carroll, 8 feet 7.5 inches. John F. Carroll was born in Buffalo, New York in 1932. And while everyone on today's list has made their mark with their unbelievable size, there's one detail that sets John Carroll apart. Many people who grow to incredible heights do so within the average period of growth that most people would experience ordinarily during their developmental years. John, on the other hand, was a little bit different. This is because he never actually stopped growing. At one point, he grew an astounding 8 inches in a single year. Needless to say, rapid growth of this nature is extremely painful and can lead to other medical complications. Among the numerous problems he faced was kyphoscoliosis, a condition in which his spine was unnaturally curved to one side. The condition was so severe that it was difficult for doctors to get a solid measurement of his height. While doctors tried several times to fix the problem with complex spinal surgeries, his condition continued to regenerate, and need surgery only made day-to-day life more uncomfortable for John, who eventually reached a height of 8 feet 7.5 inches, making him the third tallest verified human to ever live. Number 6. Robert Wallow, 8 foot 11 inches. At a height of 8 feet and 11 inches, Robert Wallow is considered the tallest human ever to live. Unfortunately, Robert suffered from a genetic condition, and much like John F. Carroll, he never stopped growing during his entire lifetime. Unfortunately, he was born in 1918 and died in 1940 at the age of just 22 from complications associated with an autoimmune disorder. Number 5. Manny Yarbrough. Manny Yarbrough was known to many as the world's largest sumo wrestler and the heaviest pro athlete in the world. Standing 6 feet 8 inches tall and weighing nearly 800 pounds, he was a force to be reckoned with. Unfortunately, though his massive stature was not the result of intentional conditioning, but rather a tragic battle with mental health and addiction, Manny died of a heart attack in 2015 at the age of 51. After his death, it was revealed that Manny had fought his entire life to overcome an addiction to food that had played havoc with his health. By the age of 14, Manny already weighed a heartbreaking 320 pounds, which he attributed to high volumes of fried food, saying that he always had felt like a prisoner in his own body. Number 4. Sajad Guribi. Sajad Guribi is an Iranian bodybuilder who also known as the Iranian Hulk or the Persian Hercules. Sajad is 6 foot 3 inches tall but weighs in at an astounding 390 pounds. Born in Kazakhstan, Iran in 1991, Sajad has amassed over 500,000 followers on social media and made his mark with appearances in several Iranian and French films. Alas, the Iranian Hulk isn't all brawn. In fact, he earned his Bachelor of Commerce from Azad University. Number 3. Andre the Giant. Possibly one of the most famous names of today's list, Andre the Giant is best known for his nearly 20-year wrestling career with WWF, now known as WWE. Andre was born in Coulmiers, Seine-et-Marne, France in 1946. And by 1973, he was establishing himself as a force in the world of professional wrestling, where the surprisingly agile Andre was restricted from performing dropkicks and other acrobatic maneuvers, being instead marketed as an immovable force, typically winning matches through brute force. By the 90s, however, the characterization was beneficial in light of Andre's rapidly deteriorating health and tragic descent into alcoholism, which saw him drink 127 beer in an evening and 14 bottles of wine before hitting the stage at WrestleMania 3. At the height of his career, Andre stood 7 feet 4 inches tall and weighed over 520 pounds. Number 2. Eddie the Beast Hall. Newcastle-under-Lyme native Eddie Hall has become better known as the Beast, and it's easy to see why. The Beast stands 6 feet 3 inches tall and weighs an astounding 352 pounds. Not surprisingly, he has won the UK's Strongest Man and England's Strongest Man competitions multiple times, and has also become the official deadlift world record holder after pulling 1,102 pounds in a 2016 strongman competition. While the Beast has worked long and hard to achieve and maintain his phenomenal physique, part of his ability to develop such impressive muscle mass is actually the result of a genetic disorder often called the Hercules gene. Developing excessive amounts of muscle carries a handful of risks. For example, it can be very hard on the hearts and bones. To prevent everyone from developing excessive muscles through routine physical labor, our bodies produce a substance called myostatin. The myostatin inhibits the production of muscle fibers and prevents existing muscle fibers from getting too big. Those with their Hercules gene produce far less myostatin than normal people, and as a result, develop muscle much quicker and easier. Number 1. Yao Ming. Compared to people of Northern Europe and African descent, those of Asian ancestry are typically not known to grow to extreme heights, but Yao Ming is anything but typical. Born in Shanghai, China, in 1980, his parents were both abnormally tall, his father being 6 feet 7 inches tall and his mother 6 foot 3 inches. Not surprisingly, Yao was a large baby, and by the time he reached the age of 9, he measured an alarming 5 feet 5 inches tall and was attending a junior sports school. By the age of 13, he was playing in the Chinese Basketball Association's Junior League. By 2002, Yao was 7 feet 6 inches tall, and his career with the CBA had captured the attention of American basketball observers. As a result, that year's NBA draft saw him picked first overall by the Houston Rockets. Soon, he was a superstar player who found himself in the position of Shaquille O'Neal's good-natured nemesis. Unfortunately, Yao was forced to retire after a series of injuries. After retiring from the game itself, however, he would go on to serve as a member of the Chinese People's Political Consultative Conference, as well as president of the Chinese Basketball Association. That's all for 10 largest humans to ever live. Which one was your favorite? Can you think of other larger-than-life people? Let us know in the comments.